Hey nerds, I'm Will Wheaton, and you're watching Trek Culture.
Oh my God. When I saw that posted, I had to thank you because you gave me a shout out. And, you know, God knows I've been on over 100 episodes just on TNG alone. But then also I played 15 different aliens on Deep Space Nine and Voyager. So you probably have seen me on there, but not really know it's me. And then, you know, we had the 3 movies and I was in the first 3. So, and I was the only one to wear every color. I'm basically literally everywhere.
That is, I mean, from a uniform standpoint, I'm intensely jealous. I really, because funny enough, we just prior to recording this, we went through our review of Insurrection as well. So yeah, it's been fantastic. I feel like hopefully in non-creepy way, I feel like I've been following you around for a while, but like respectfully.
Yeah, I know, not like a creeper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't worry, I know how to read a restraining order.
Oh my God. Well, just a little tidbit real quick. The Borg movie, Alice Krige, you know, was the Borg queen. I was also her stunt double.
And like, did you have the head fully removed for that one?
I was her arms grabbing Data's legs when he was going up the ladder.
Funny if I know exactly the scene you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they called me in for that, so I had to fit into her little outfit. But then I played me too on the bridge. But and then another weird tidbit, the episode Rascals.
Oh yeah.
I was you know how they turn him into a little kid, right? Well, they called me in to be Patrick Stewart's hands as the little boy. So that was pretty weird. Yeah, but yeah, Star Trek was awesome for me. I mean, if I can, before Star Trek, I was a regular lifeguard on Baywatch.
I think as well, a lot of people who like myself, like we grew up with things like The Next Generation DS9, but like Baywatch was airing here as well. So like, you know, we absolutely would have seen you in that as well. And I've always felt that, you know, going from a lifeguard to working on a starship was just a natural career progression.
Well, the way that happened was, you know, Baywatch got canceled. Then I got a movie called Another 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was doing a stunt in that movie in a bar scene fight in a skirt and pumps. Woo! And somebody from Star Trek saw me because they were there watching the filming and said, you need to go talk to Mary Howard up in the business office. I think they'd really like your look for Star Trek. Well, at the time, I had no idea. I'm like, okay, it sounds like a good gig. You know, I had no idea. And so I went and one thing led to another, got cast. They put me in the gold and black, which was, I guess, the best color to be because it does 2 things on the ship. And then started out as an ensign. And then a little time after, I went to wardrobe, put on my outfit, and I had 2 pips. And they didn't say anything. So I got promoted. I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad that happened. And then I got my name by mistake from Jonathan Frakes. By mistake. And they didn't say anything about that either. He was supposed to say, like, Lieutenant JG, I need you to go do this. But he said, Lieutenant J, I need you to go do this. And nobody came out and said, no, that was wrong. So I went with it and I spelled it JAE, and now I have like a really cool cult following and a fan club. I mean, it's just been crazy. And then I met on the set, obviously, Michael Westmore, who's the god of makeup. And my first alien that he put me in was an Antikin. You know what an Antikin looks like, right? To me, it looks like a wolf dog. I don't know. But it had a prosthetic in my mouth. So every time I, you know, talk or tried to, whatever I was doing, the mouth would go like this. Funny story about that is I go outside in the alley to get air because it was hot. And this white trailer is like right across the way. A lot of them, but this one I was looking at because it was supposed to be Sharon Stone.
Okay.
She comes out of her trailer in a white terry cloth robe and beelines right for me. And I love her. So I was just like going, oh my God, oh my God. She comes like this close to my face and was like, wow, that is such cool makeup. And she's like, why do you cover your face up? And then it just happened to be that day that I gave the security guy an 10 headshot of me signed. And he said, she looks like this. And she was like, oh my God. She goes, you're so pretty. Why would you do that? And I said, well, for one, I like it. And for two, they pay me well. And she said, wow. She goes, well, today's our last day filming. How would you like to be my guest at our wrap party? I was like, oh my, this is crazy. Yeah. So like some crazy stuff like that's happened to me. Like Paramount hired me to be a full-on, I've played both Borgs, the drone bald-headed Borg and then the regular with all the stuff Borg. They called and said, we need you to be all dressed in Borg to promote our pinball game at Anaheim Convention Center. This was, back in the day, obviously. So I'm like, okay, well, prior to that, I got a movie, another Demolition Man.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And I played a cop in the movie with Sandra Bullock. I'm in the office with the hat on and they're all talking and blah, blah, blah. There was another scene with me too. But so I'm doing the pinball game and all bored. I get a tap on my shoulder, turn around. It's this guy, the designer from Williams Bally Midway in Chicago, who makes all of those pinball games.
Okay.
He's like, I really like your voice. How would you like to be the computer voice for the Demolition Man pinball game? I'm like, oh my God, yeah. So they flew me out there, got my wardrobe from Warner Brothers, flew me there. I did the whole dialogue, everything. It's on YouTube. It's called Demolition Man Pinball Game Promo if you want to see it. Wow. I mean, like the stuff that's happened, right? And then my very first Comic-Con was in 2012 in London for the, what was it called? London Film and Comic-Con. Yeah. So that was my big major first one. And then after that, I did FedCon. Then the one in Australia, Supernova or something. But I've been doing the Comic-Con circuit now I love it. I just got back from this last weekend in Lompoc. And I have I mean, who knew that would happen, right? Okay, everybody's like, why aren't you being invited to, the Star Trek cruise thing?
Yeah, actually.
And they know who I am. I email them. They're like, yeah, we know. We sent your stuff to blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I don't know what I got to do to get, be a guest on there. So a fan messaged me a couple years ago couple years back and said, you need to be on the ship, on the boat. Yeah, the ship. And I'm giving you my extra room. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what do I have to do? And he's like, nothing. He goes, this is bullshit. You need to be with your fans. They need to see how you are. And hopefully maybe that'll, I don't know, get something in their head. So I went. It was the most fantastic time ever. And so I go with my group of my guys, I call them. And we went up to up to one part of the ship to go. We were going to go see the TNG panel. Okay. I literally run into Marina. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm okay. And she's like, are you going to come watch? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come watch. I go, I'd love to be on it. And she goes, yeah, I know. So she goes, okay, come watch. So we went to watch. So my friend Mike goes, they're going to ask the audience members if they want to ask a question. You got to come down the aisle, and scooch down so you're not blocking everybody. And then you need to go ask a question. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm really shy. I really am. So I finally got the balls to go do it. And the light comes down on me. And Marina says, oh my God, Jonathan, look who it is. It's Tracee Cocco. And Jonathan does one of these. And he goes, Tracee Cocco? And I'm like, hi, Jonathan. And he's like, how are you? And I said, fine. I go, do you think you can catch me now? Have you seen the blooper?
It is brilliant. Yeah.
So he started laughing. He came out like really quick and had to come back. And I just didn't know what to say. So then I'm like, I just want to say, thank you guys. It was great working with you. It was an honor. And I appreciate, your love, whatever. I don't even know what I said. Something like that. So then I was like, yay, like a little kid. I went, yay. And the audience went nuts. And they're like, bring back Lieutenant Jay. And I'm running up the aisle, and Marina goes, Tracee. She goes, how many episodes were you in? And I turn around and I scream, over 100. And then I started to say, and I played 15 different aliens on Deep Space Nine, but it was too loud that she couldn't hear. So then I have a video of it that I post because they took a video of it, thank God. And she says that I was, the best to work with. She just had my back. And she said, and we love you, Tracee, we love you. And I said, I love you too, Marina. Thank you so much for the hug. She said, you always have a hug, something like that. I don't know. But oh my God, yeah.
That is incredible. And because I can imagine as well, as incredible as that was, like to even be just a spectator in the room and watching that moment as well. Because I think particularly the next generation crew are always the go-to when people say, well, that was a family.
Oh yeah. They were great. And then, everybody's like, well, you were on Deep Space Nine and Voyager as aliens. Did you, but my parts, I never really met anybody because I did my part and then I was done. You know what I mean?
That's a question I had, is that from, say, your experience of, often, under heavy prosthetics, but, I suppose, what's the right way to describe like background actor, background performer, featured extra. Thank you very much. Thank you. So what is that kind of process like? Are you just, okay, look, be here at 7:00 in the morning, you'll be here till 6:00 in the evening, simple as? Or is it very last minute? No, look, we need you today. Sorry, someone's fallen over, broken their leg. We need you to be here. What does that look like from your point of view?
I knew, because I was the black and gold and I was always on the bridge. So I knew that when I get my call time, the bridge always filmed 3 days a week. So I knew I'd be working 3 days a week. Now, anything like extra that they wanted me to do after, or like the next time, I was like the person that they would always call because they know I was always on time. I'd do my stuff. They wouldn't have to tell me really how to do it. I just did it, which is weird. And then Michael Westmore, the head of makeup, gave me those aliens to do. And wow, I mean, like, yeah. So no, I love the show. And you know what? To this day, I still feel, because I was also Patrick Stewart's date a couple of times in 10 Forward. I had my own special outfit I wore. So he was getting the one that I know for sure, that the poetry reading that Data does. I can't remember the episode. But then I was watching like BBC, how they have the running of Star Trek, TNG, the nonstop. And there I am again as Worf's date. And then I was also Riker's date. I'm like, oh my God, little hoochie mama. But
friendly shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really feel that if the show didn't get canceled, I guess the word is, or whatever, I think something would have happened with me.
I think for sure, because if we think even in the final year, there was that Lower Decks episode, which was designed to, we weren't following Picard this week, we weren't following, what was Worf doing, it was about the other characters. And obviously then we got the cartoon that sort of spun off from that eventually. But I think, if there had been another season, and based on the success of seeing the rest of the ship, I absolutely believe you're right.
Yeah, because then when we were doing the first movie, Generations, I knew I'd be on it, but I just didn't know like what I'd be doing. And then Jonathan came up and he said, hey, he goes, how would you like to fly the ship and do a stunt, with pyrotech, whatever they call it, the explosive stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. I go, but I'm wearing red and black. So in the contract, I know you'd probably be coming out with other movies. I don't die, right? And he goes, we could make that happen. But in the original script, that person dies.
Because I know the scene exactly that you mean, because it's
because Marina takes my seat, and we had to do that take twice. I didn't know, because she told this at a panel that I was watching her panel, and she's like, yeah, Tracee didn't give me the key, didn't let me know how to drive it. And then she gets blown out, and then she goes, then I try to sit down and my bum got burned. So they had to we had to do a second take. I never knew that until she told me that.
That is hilarious.
And then a fan said, yeah, and you get blown out and they carry you off. And Michael did my makeup. I had like a cut with blood. And then they said, and then near the end, there you are in the back of the bridge holding onto the wall. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally didn't even know that.
What is the wackiest stunt you've ever done?
Well, it's probably the one on Generations with explosives. I never did that before. I was kind of nervous, but once we did it, I was like, oh my God, let's do it again. Because Jonathan was like, okay, when I say action, don't look that way because it's going to blow up stuff. And in the reel, when I watched it, the ambers like followed me like down to the floor. Yeah, but that was fun. But like even on Baywatch, like surfing is considered an extra stunt.
I have once in my life tried surfing, and I was so bad at it that I absolutely believe you when you say it's a stunt. I mean, I think I was able to hold on to the board. I mean, hold on to, not stand. I was able to hold on to the board for about a second before I was knocked off it by a wave.
Oh wow! Yeah, I have a longboard, so it's more easier to paddle and catch a wave. I like the roller kind, not the ones that go weep. Yeah, no, not for me. So, but like, yeah, I mean, like even in the Eddie Murphy movie, I'm not a skirt girl. I don't wear skirts. I'm not, so when they put me in that mini skirt thing and then had me in pumps, I'm like, oh, great. And then I had to like literally run and jump over either over a table or I landed on it. I don't know, but we did a stunt. And then I even did a stunt. I fought Pamela Sue Anderson in the movie Barbed Wire.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah.
But they cut the scene out, which I was bummed. But
that's actually so good. We've been lucky enough to chat to, say, a few people who have been in projects, but like yourself, have had scenes that have been cut. Do you get a heads up that it's going to be cut, or do you find out when you're watching the final cut?
Find out. And you know what other one sucked was I was on General Hospital, the soap opera.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day as Marla, the rock and roll hairdresser, right? So I auditioned, and how I got that was even like, wow. I saw that they were casting for Marla. And I was living in a studio in Belmont Shores at the time in California, Long Beach. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to send him my headshot and just see what happens. So I sent him my headshot. And it's back in the day when you had when you get home and you have those little blinks on your phone because you had a message on the tape. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. So I get back to my studio and I'm like, oh, I have a message. I push the play and it's some lady from General Hospital saying, this is so-and-so from General Hospital. You got the part. And I'm thinking, what hospital? Oh, and that's how I got the part. She said, yeah. She said she opened up the envelope, took out my picture, and she said it just popped. And she said, we knew it was you. So I go in for the filming that day, had my little trailer. I was so excited, told everybody when it was going to air. And all I had to say was, as soon as I get off the phone, like that's it. But you say that like over and over, like, oh, should I be mad when I say it? Like, as soon as I get off the phone, or as soon as I get off the phone, hello, like, so we filmed it that day. I had my leather jacket on. My hair was on fire. It was like, not literally on fire, but like pop it, my spiky hair was perfect. The day comes to watch it, and oh my God. You don't see me, you hear me.
Oh no.
Because an actress had a could I say fit?
Yeah, we already have.
Oh, okay. Sorry. She had a little, conniption fit that I looked better than her. Oh. This has happened to me like a few times. Like when I got Demolition Man, right? I had the coolest outfit on from wardrobe. Cool top hat, really cool. Was groovy looking. And I was supposed to be at the scene where they're all at the dinner table. And I was supposed to be sitting next to them, the main people, at the Taco Bell dinner table or whatever in Demolition Man. The director comes up and he says, sorry, my girlfriend likes your outfit. And so she's going to wear it. And I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. I said, well, I know you're going to be filming Cops, so maybe can I be a cop? And they're like, yeah. And that's how that happened.
Right.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, crazy stuff. Like, when I filmed the movie The Fan back in the day with Robert De Niro, I was sitting right next to him. Then I did my scene. Then that was it, right? But the next day I go to get in line to be, I don't know, in the scene somewhere. And I put a wig on. And they're like, you look familiar. And I'm like, yeah, I just have a wig on. Hello, outside of the box. Think outside. And and I got on for that day. So that was like an extra day of pay. But like, they don't think of stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I wonder if, like, particularly in that kind of a, if it's just kind of like conveyor belt, get the scene done. And as you say, they're not thinking outside the box. They're just like, we just got to get this done. They look up and be like, oh, we didn't even think of that. Lads, you don't need to think about it. I've thought about it for you. I'll do this scene.
And then sometimes you have directors that like rain. And that was one of the movies, The Fan. It was already raining, at the stadium. And we're supposed to be watching this game. And I'm like, this is not realistic to me. And then the director has rain machines to make it rain more. And so I'm in Screen Actors Guild. So if they don't feed you on time, we get paid for that. If we have to work in smoke, we get paid for that. I mean, the one day alone, I made like over $400 because they didn't feed us on time. Yeah, the union's pretty cool to be in.
Thank you so much for watching this abbreviated version of this podcast. Now, if you go to our audio platforms, you will get the full version of this podcast with this guest. So we really, really appreciate you subscribing to that, and you're just awesome and wonderful. Thank you so much.